Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, the rope climb. Ahoy!
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Ahoy!
It's a Wednesday. Bringing some big Wednesday energy in today.
Wow. Can't tell if that's good or bad.
I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted.
You were swinging all day, apparently.
We went to the trampoline park, and then we came back, and within 45 minutes, we were at the pool. So,
it
was a long day.
Yes.
Long
Holy
day.
cow.
But we got to eat, I got to eat baba ganoush with chicken shawarma on top.
Hey.
So it was a good day.
Is there a more fun food to say than baba ganoush?
Right.
I'm not sure there is.
It makes me happy to say.
It's pretty fun. Like,
Yes.
I gotta say. You need to tell me more about this trampoline park. I have heard that these exist. I have never been to one, obviously, because, like, why would I go to a trampoline park? You know, like, that's not.
Well, I mean, I will say that, first off, Aaron, have you been to a trampoline park?
I have, yes.
Oh, okay.
What?
Aaron
Yeah.
is
It's just
all
me,
about
the loser. Hello.
Well, so what's interesting is that most trampoline parks are like already in like pre-sketched out like shopping areas and whatever. And what you don't notice whenever you first walk in is that the reception area is down at the bottom, or down like right when you walk in, and then you have to walk up a bunch of steps. And then like when you're jumping, you're like, oh, that's right, because there has to be space underneath the titular trampoline to like go down. They're not going to excavate down into the foundation of the poured building to do that. So
No.
that's the first thing. But they're just like laid out in an array of design and purpose. There are also like obstacle course areas like that you would see on American Ninja Warrior thing. So like the jumping, do like the side to side jump, and then the hang on the thing and slide.
All right. Did you practice your Ninja Warrior ability?
I did not. But
An anachronism historically, because spoiler alerts, ninjas were spies, not warriors.
well,
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
the warrior of secretdom. So they have that, and then they just have floor trampolines, but they're not like it's not like the trampoline that you imagine for somebody's backyard. Like these are
No, I was messing like the gymnastics ones.
they are. That's
Okay.
what they are. Like, so they have some really long, skinny ones, so people can do like the double, triple, flippy.
Do you know how mad I would be if I went to a trampoline park and it was just like one of those janky trampolines from somebody's backyard in there? Like that would make
I
me
know.
so upset. Like,
But you don't really know, like, that's only been my experience of that feeling of a trampoline and that kind of like what you expect of how it's going to bounce.
you never been on a gymnast trampoline, the big ones, or like the gymnastics thing?
No, when would I have had that?
Okay, why? The question is, why on earth was I on one? I don't remember, but like I was on one when I was younger.
Yeah. So, I had never experienced that, and just how different of a sensation that is, how of an immediate recoil you get, of how responsive that floor is to jump, and how it's like both simultaneously like very bouncy, but also very like a lot more rigid. So it's a very interesting mix, and they've got climate like walls where the trampoline actually flexes and goes up halfway a wall, so you can like run and jump and bounce and try and get up at the top and sit, which is what the kids do. They've got a cool if you wanted to play like a dodgeball thing, where imagine where again that trampoline comes up to the wall, so it kind of loops up on the sides, and you can kind of throw the dodgeball back and forth on your teams. They got a place for basketballs. The place that we like to go to is the foam pit, which is where I sent you that video from. where you can both just like run, jump, and flip, or you can get in the swing and do what everybody loves to do of like doing the like. Well, I never did this, but like when you get to the height of the swing, and you're like, what if I just went? Like you can do that, and then not go careening into gravel or asphalt or rebar.
Yeah, so listeners, this was my first thought. Was Collin sent me a picture of his kids like flying out of a swing into a foam pit.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, that's actually kind of sweet. And then I thought to myself, and to think, I used to do this onto gravel playground.
Like a pea gravel.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
like
and Collin sent back, I never did that. Aaron, I need your vote. Did you jump out of the swings?
1,000%, because we can get in trouble at a recess if we did that.
All right.
Which I did a lot.
We did too. We had like contests and like stylized jumps. We would go for height. We would go for distance. Right?
Yeah.
We used to do this thing where you like, I remember doing this all the time. It was so fun. You like swing really high and then you jump out of the swing and you turn around and you grab the chain and you swing back like Tarzan. Right?
What?
Yeah. It was so fun when you were little, right? I imagine a giant me would not really have the same effect, but in like fourth grade, dude, that was the best one. You could even, if you did it right, you could jump to the other swing. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It was great.
No. So yeah, the I never did that. That's insane.
We used to go for distance and we would draw our lines in the rock.
Sure.
Right? Aaron, did you do that? Did you do the distance contest?
We tried to go as high as we could.
No.
Also good. Good classic.
No, it was that's terrifying. So the kids were very quickly realizing the differences in those of like when to jump out, because that was really fun to watch them because they had never done that before. The first time that we went to this place, it was kind of overwhelming, and we just spent our time jumping around from place to place. They weren't really into the whole like swing as high as you can, then launch out, and so you could see each time they jump off of the swing, they would go out and they would try something a little bit different of like, okay, when do I leap out? And like the first time Noah did, or Lillian did it, it was like she leapt out just as the swing had started to like move back forward. So she just got launched straight line, like flying out, and had no height at all. It was like maximum velocity forward. It was pretty awesome. But then Noah,
see, that's how you gotta do it. Get for that.
Noah, man, like he would go up and then he would just lay back and then like plummet back, just like back first into the foam. And that was his preferred way of launching off versus Lil's, which was like face first or head first down into the foam.
So you cannot do on the gravel. You do not want to land on your back. Let me tell you, I did that one time. I don't really remember what happened exactly. I was in third grade, right? And I did that somehow. Like I fell when I was trying to jump, right? But I think I timed it wrong, and I landed directly on my back, right? And like flat back bump out the swing set, right? And I could not breathe. I was just like, it was so horrible. It was the first time I'd ever had the wind knocked out of me, and it was a little terrifying.
The first time that happens to you, that is not. First time
it was a little horrifying. So I'm laying on the ground, gasping for breath, and my friend was like, "Holy cow, dude! What? Hold on.
Are you dead?"
He was trying to like pick me up, and I was like,
I think the first time I had my wind knocked out of me, I was trying to do a slip and slide. And I
could see.
Instead of doing the forward momentum, I just belly flopped onto the ground and it was like could not breathe while I was sliding with water in my face. And it was pretty. That was a good time. Aaron, do you have a memory of when you got the wind knocked out of you for the first time?
Elementary school, we were doing basketball in the gym because it was raining. And for some reason, I thought it was perfectly okay to stand underneath the goal for the basketball. And like it like the ball came like right on down on top of my head, and that knocked the wind out of me, and I like immediately keeled over. And so, yeah, I don't remember who shot it. I remember it happening, and I remember crying a lot. So that was a very distinctive time of. I think it was like one of the teachers, or it might have been Chuck, like, "Oh, well, listen to me learn." Like, so yeah, I never did that again. Weird.
See, it's important lessons that we learn in elementary school.
It is. Kind of testing those boundaries, I think, is really important.
Yeah, when your body can literally bounce back and be like, okay, I'm fine. If that happened to me now, I'd probably be dead for like a week, right? I'd be like, my sternum, I can't live, right? But when you're like 9, you're like, whatever, it's fine.
I will survive this. Now I'm like, just the mere thought of this is causing me lots.
Yeah,
of pain.
I'd be laying on the couch for like days, right? But when you're 9, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go play now. I'm okay. Like,
so it's good. I like finding those kind of activities. Obviously we like being outside and such. But on rainy days or as a special event, going to these kind of parks, because it is something that I think is important for just what you were saying, like finding those limits, them kind of testing their skills in a play form of just practicing hand-eye coordination, gross muscle movement, continued maximum effort as they are doing some of these things. Like all that is really good, and they obviously have a blast doing it. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
True. Did you have flashbacks to the Discovery Zone?
Of course.
Right. All right.
Yeah,
that's good. That's important.
Yeah.
Especially
like the diving into, like going into the pit of like
DZ baby.
Like this is like in my day, these were semi-hard plastic balls that would like slam into your body, and we're not.
That's
like,
true.
We're deceptively
not cushioning.
Like
yeah,
like it just. Oh,
hey kid, take a fall to some hard plastic. Like,
how about that?
Okay, let's do it.
And then have somebody leap on top of you immediately after you.
No, that never happened. It's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about
it. Listeners, I will send. There's both the DiscoveryZone.com and the Discovery Zone Wikipedia page. You will find in the show notes on our website. That kind of stuff. These look a lot more. Man, these things are huge and just terrifying.
But like thinking about it, I can't. So like, I was trying to remember some of this stuff. This was a very early, like the grandfather of the American Ninja Warrior phenomenon, right? Because they had the like monkey bar things in there, and you could climb up the little rope deal and stuff, and then you could there was like a thing you could swing across, and like some little platform you could scurry across or whatever. I seem to remember. And then they had like the classic tubes, right? Like the McDonald's Playhouse thing, but they were like bigger and like cooler than the McDonald's ones for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, they had
and
the
slides and
the net climbs, right? Those.
Oh, the net climb, right? Yeah.
Which was so fun watching the kids go and do net climbs today. And then they also have the ones where it's like a punching bag size or a little bit bigger. That's made out of the mesh. The straps, but it's filled with the foam pieces. So
right.
It's really hard to grab on. You have to full arms around. Like it takes everything to grab onto them.
The DZ had something like that.
Yeah.
But there was it was actually just like a plastic thing full of foam.
Sure.
It was blue, I think, because primary colors.
You have to climb up it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of thing. I'm. You're right. It is kind of a pre-trained.
I just realized that the Discovery Zone was the prototype. It's the grandfather of the American Ninja Warrior. Look at this revelation, dude! The cargo net climb thing, low-key was like so amazing when you were 10.
Yeah.
Right? Like I remember we had one. There was one on the playground at school. Do you remember that? I think they took it down after a few years because they realized, oh, this is not safe.
Oh, this is
like at all
dangerous. Yeah.
But it was like, it was just a big thing, and it was cargo nets on both sides. Big black cargo net, right?
Yep. Nope.
You climb up one side, you went over the bar, and you went down the other side, right? Which, when you say that out loud, that sounds like zero fun, right?
But as a kid,
as a 10-year-old, that was the stinking coolest thing.
Well, again, it's
because you flip over the top.
Well,
I mean, you're not supposed to do that.
No.
And you flip over the top anyway.
Again, all while with the security of the cushioning of pea gravel underneath you.
Yeah, just rocks
feet below
and dirt.
And not even a lot of rocks. Like, it's just like a dusting of rocks,
like an inch maybe. Yeah, just like compacted Missouri soil, like
clay, like cushioned. Yeah,
delicious.
Meanwhile, this one, it's like they have the what are they? The gymnastic mat. But then underneath those, they have 3 feet of the foam blocks and stuff. So like, even if you fall underneath them, when you're doing the more Ninja Warrior style thing, like you hit the mat, but it like really goes like
yeah. It's not like in elementary school again. Like you put like the gymnastics mat out on the floor,
on the wood,
so you fall out, and it's just kind of like
concrete. Yeah,
like
exactly. Oh yeah,
it only like the rope climb, right? They put the crash mat out there.
Yeah,
but it's like a maybe 2-inch mat
that was already 30 years old. That were like, oh, the dust inside will cushion you.
Yeah, I never really thought about it too much. I just because again, you're like child, and you just climbed up the stupid rope. Did you guys still do rope climb? Was that a thing in elementary school?
Yeah, I remember.
At some point they stopped that.
Yeah, I did rope climb because I remember they had the ranking of like, what was it, like coconut, monkey, tree,
banana
or whatever.
See, I don't remember that part.
Of like, depending on how high you went, you got one of those things. I don't remember exactly what the ranking was. I can tell you mine was the lowest. But again, not a fan of heights. So.
True. I made it to the top once. That was kind of cool until you get up there and like, all right, come down. You're like,
ow.
Wait.
That is
I'm really high up here right now.
Yeah. You want me to what?
Like, oh no, this is not good. Like, dang it.
So yeah, and I think it's new, it's exciting. They're able to do like all these skills, use their body. Like both kids were like really like going like all out on the trampolines, and it's also fun because it's like in order to get from one side of the building complex to the other, like you just kind of hop on trampolines, or you could do the boring walk path, but it's much more fun. Obviously,
yes.
Boing, 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 boing. So it's all novelty and just like experiencing those. I don't know. It's really fun. I recommend them. You can have, adults there. Obviously, you can go and bounce and jump and twirl and spin, and everything be okay.
Nice. Aaron, just for clarification, you do remember the rope climb?
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Rope climb, because they had like the thinnest mat under it, and they thought like that would be enough. And so yes, I remember it very well, because I think the first time I tried it, I like was maybe 10 feet, and I just like my brain just said it's time to let go, and I just went right on it. So I remember that. Elementary was kind of a rough time. I was definitely growing up as a kid. Like, this won't hurt. Why am I bleeding? So I very much remember that time.
Yeah. You go through that, right? But yeah, we spent our day doing that. Was eventful. And that was our day. Our day was good. What were you up to?
Nice.
Are you guys? How is the when's? When do you guys go back to school? We talked about this.
8. We show up the 15th. 15th, 16th, 17th is like it's not professional day, but it's kind of professional day, and then the 18th is our first day.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think
You don't give very many
right.
days beforehand.
Nope, because it's also Shelby's birthday is the 18th, and so last few years we haven't really had a chance to really celebrate it because of school, because she also starts about that same time. And so yeah, I think if we go back, because our first softball game is the 8th, and because we're scrimmaging tomorrow, and so yeah, we're like, oh man, we got so much time, and people are like, nope, it's
just kidding.
We'll start in like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, JK.
Dang it. Yeah, I go back for our first day is the first day the teachers have to be there. The professional days or whatever is next Wednesday.
Oh.
So I'll probably be grumpy next week just because like I'll have to sit in a room all day listening to like really boring nonsense that I don't like. So like, just let me in my room. I need to do room things. Get out of here.
I haven't even been in my classroom yet, so I haven't done anything. I haven't really even lesson. I have lesson plans sort of, but like they've still been doing like the floors, and so I just haven't been able. I haven't been in my classroom.
Yuck! They're still doing
outside. Yeah, so I'm a little annoyed. Like I just need to get in there, so like I make sure my computer works, all that stuff. Because yeah, when the time hits and they're like, "Oh, don't do this," like I'm gonna be rushed. I'm not gonna be very happy. And then we got like softball games and tournaments like the first week, and so everyone just needs to chill for a second. Let me get my classroom. Let me do my plan.
I gotta get in there and make sure all my stuff is there, and then like put my stuff. Well, I mean, I put them all up on the shelf that doesn't move, so they better not touch my stinky rocks. Listen up, buddy. Also, every year, like, it's one of those gripes I have where, like, I draw them a map, and I put it on my board, and I say, please put my things like this. And used to, that's what they wanted you to do, right? That's what they wanted. So that they could put all this stuff. Because, like, again, they take everything out of the room. Not everything, but a lot of the stuff out of the room.
Sure.
And they do all the floors and all that stuff. And then they put it all back in there. And I give them a map. And the last 2 years, they have not even looked at it. When they put all my stuff it's fine. So I didn't have, like, move my desk somewhere. Like, that's not where it goes. Like, last year, they left my big, giant bench that sits under the window. They just left it in the middle of the room. I was like, what?
Oh.
What? What do you do? No. I was like, why did you do that? That's not... So I just slid it across the room. I didn't even care. They're all like, make sure you lift up or have somebody... No, I slid that sucker. Like, don't tell me what to... Blam! Get over it, suckers. That's where it's going. So, I'm just always excited to see what state they have left my room in. Like, guys, I laid up everything for you. I gave you a map. I cleaned everything. Just put my desk back over here. No, I'll just leave it in the middle. Like, goes by the window. That's where the computer cord is. Like, it literally can't go anywhere else. What are you doing?
Yeah, but what if it didn't? Think about that. Never thought about that before. What if it didn't?
No, it has to go back in the corner.
Trying to open your mind up to more possibilities.
No. So that's next week. This week I just been like messing around the house. Been reading some more. Oh, because Susan had to go back already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to just get ready for her new position.
Yeah,
right? She had to go back a little bit
how is that?
She's super stoked, right? Like she's super excited. And so she's just trying to get a bunch of stuff ready. She like made some stuff for it's like stinking amazing looking. I'll see if like signs and stuff for the library.
Okay.
And so it's pretty awesome. She's been crafting away and she's been getting stuff ready at school. So I've been sitting home, I was reading. I cleaned my desk a little bit.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of it because, as noted on the show previously, I am a piler of things, and my desk was becoming quite unusable with the amount of things piled upon it. Because I don't use it all that often, right? And so I was like, okay, I'll just put this stuff here, blah, blah, blah. And then so like after about a year of that, you're like, there is what desk? There's just a pile of stuff. So I've been going through there, dusted everything. I threw away a whole bunch of stuff. Because I have this habit of like, I get like a paper or something, and then I go like, okay, I'll just put it here for when I, whatever. And then it just slowly turns into a pile of junk. So like, oh, here's my dentist bill. Here's this, blah, 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 just pile, right? And so I threw a whole bunch of stuff away. I went through some other piles I had of some like school stuff, and some of it was like just so old. I was just like, I don't need this. I'm throwing it out. Ha! So just been sort of reorganizing stuff. Got some more room in here. It's kind of nice. Got some stuff picked away.
You have room for more stuff.
Yeah. And doing some laundry, the little bit of laundry that I've done, like my socks or whatever. That's about it. I also, because of a few weeks ago, I have purchased the Halo Master Chief Collection. I've been playing that too. That is when I realized that I was in here right the other day, and I was like yelling, probably, and the TV was on real loud. Not real loud, but Susan was like, what is going on in there? And then I thought to myself, can I actually explain what's happening in this game? No, I can't. This is too weird. I can't.
Never mind. It's nothing.
Like, I'm stopping the bad guys from doing a thing. Don't worry. That's about it. Because, like, it's too weird to, like, say out loud. You sound insane. It's another one of those things where if you try to explain the plot, you sound like a crazy person.
As I have experienced with Rockadoodle.
Yeah, it's similar to that, right? Like, okay, well, there's these this thing. Right? Nope, not gonna do it. I'm just gonna. So that's the other big thing I've been doing this week is that.
That's nice.
Shouting at my TV, playing on hard mode, wondering why. I forgot that the Warthogs are impossible to drive. I forgot about that. I can't. No. So yeah, other than that, I was digging around. I found some of the stuff that's got to go back to school, so I would get my backpack ready. Like, okay, this got to go in there. Here's my iPad. Here's this book I got. Here's my charger thing. Just so I'm slowly becoming ready to take it all back to work next week when I start. So,
Aaron, I wanted to pick your brain. You said you have scrimmages and stuff coming up. What does it? I have no clue what it means to prepare for a season of softball. What kind of things do you try and put together or start working on now so that you're ready?
So there's a certain time when you can start due to whatever state athletic association you're under. So every coach is different. Everyone kind of has its own different focus. Some coaches are more like offensively oriented. Some coaches are defensive oriented. Depends on the kind of kids that you have, yada, yada, yada. And so what we've been doing is the head coach, it's her first year coaching ever. And so it's kind of a lot of getting, your whole new coaching staff on the same page, getting kind of like, just seeing, especially if you're new to the area, you don't know the kids, you don't know the background, you don't know what they're good at. And so you spend a lot of that time in the first few weeks of just kind of growing pains, like putting people in different positions, seeing what they're good at, what they're not good at, kind of evaluating like what you have and kind of gearing the season towards that. And then you just kind of go through the basic stuff. I know at the other places I've been with baseball and softball, it's been more things of, having girls show up or the kids show up, and then they do like stretches and throws, and then they always focus on trying to hit every single day, trying to pitch every single day, trying to catch every single day, and then just working either outfield or infield. This week has been more like for me because I kind of like, hey, I'm taking pictures because we haven't thrown in like 2 weeks, so we're doing that, and so everyone's like, oh yeah, okay. Just kind of see like what we have to work with, and then we just kind of build our offense around it, seeing what kids, who can hit, who's fast, who's not. I mean, you can definitely find those things out within like the first like day of like, oh man, this kid's really good, and they're like, oh this person's probably not going to see the field for a while. And that's why you have scrimmages. A good number maybe is probably about to have 2 or 3 scrimmages before the season starts, because that way you can kind of that's where your your mad scientist lab comes in of like, hey, I know you've been playing this position, but I want to see what it looks like when you're here. And so you can move, whoever you need to around just to kind of accommodate, like, hey, look, you're really strong here, but I would really like it here because you give us the best chance of winning. And then just kind of going off of that. In our instance, we have a lot of speed. We have a lot of girls that are just super fast and who are really good at base running. Maybe not so strong at hitting. And so that's why we have to come in and be like, all right, so looks like we're going to be, bunting a lot. So we need to do this here, and then we need to move these people here, and try to change the lineup to accommodate what we have. We don't have a lot of kids that are just going to slug it out of the park. We don't have like any of those girls that, and they could with a lot of work, but with the season starting next week, there's no way that we can, we're going to make improvements as the year progresses, but the first few weeks of softball are kind of rough because you're still trying to get the vibe of everybody, trying to get the feel, and yes, you have practices for that, but some kids can surprise you, or you might get a move in and you have to rearrange your entire lineup. So it just kind of depends on what you have and who you have, and with also your coaching staff, with her being a new coach in general, it's a lot of, hey, we need to be doing this. It's little details. We need to be, getting these kids acclimated to this, and then also having to balance junior high at the same time. So there's a lot of moving parts to a lot of things, and if you have doing, it's gonna be super overwhelming because we have a lot of that feeling of like, oh, there's a lot going on. It's like, yeah, a lot of these kids never had true softball coaches, and so it's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff to do, and you're trying to gasp for air over there in the corner, and you're like, yeah, there is. So there's a lot to do, and tomorrow we're going to kind of see of what we have to work with, because we can scrimmage against each other all day, but we've got to see how well our girls do in certain situations. And that's the fun thing with scrimmages, because you can go to the other coach and be like, hey, can you do this with your person? Because I want to see what our kid does with this. And they'll be like, yeah, sure. Like, hey, umpire, can you give us 2 strikes? I want to see what she does under pressure. And things like that. So it's just kind of fun to play around with. That's kind of where your, mad, like I said, mad scientist lab comes in, of like what you want to see and what you have. So it'll definitely be fun. We have junior high and high school tomorrow. Junior high is at 3, high school's at 4 or something, maybe, if I remember correctly. So, and yeah, our first game of the year is Monday. So yeah, there's a lot.
That's crazy. That's a lot of stuff to do before Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other big thing is that, like, especially big, because I've been going to practices for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I'm still finding out like where certain equipment are, and like trying to meet new people and trying to like also balance talking to parents and dealing with other coaches and trying to lesson plan. So it's just like the one bad thing about softball in Oklahoma is like it starts before school starts, and so you're having to, I'm already going to have to miss some days for softball games, and so the first few weeks or like the first few days is going to be like, hey, this is my thing, and yeah, so here's fill this, and this is what we're doing, and all right, bye. Because I got games, and so there's a lot that just, and the one thing about like with baseball is like completely different season, like at the tail end, and so things are winding down. But yeah, softball, it's hey, here's your keys. All right, you have a game tomorrow. Bye. You're like, I don't know your name. Come back.
What? Huh? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I've met some of the football coaches, and I'm just like, sorry, you're important because I have to talk to you because I'm going to be announcing the football game. Like, I don't know what your name is, and they're like, oh yeah, go see Chad. I'm like, I don't know who it is. Like, hey coach, are we doing practice? Like, I don't know. Help. So
at least when you talk to them, you can just be like, hey coach.
Yeah, that is the one saving grace if you're being coached. It's really funny when you go to coaching clinics and you're going to a room and you're like, hey, coach. And then like 20 people turn around. You're like, yeah, that's right. I don't know your name.
Oh, dear.
Gotta work the system, man. Gotta work the system.
Nice job.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I have a game plan of what we'd like to do, but knowing our luck, it will completely fall through the roof because I don't think like some of the certain kids will show up, and so I'm like, I have this lineup, and I need to see who people are, but you're not going to be there. So, yeah, softball.
If they don't show up, they could sit on the bench.
Oh yeah, bench.
Ride the pine. Right? That's what people say.
I've been coaching 3 years now, and one thing that I've never like had to deal with is like our school is a lot bigger than a lot of places I've been at, and especially in athletics, they like to take care of their coaches. So we are actually sponsored by Under Armour, and they give certain sports kind of like a certain amount of money for my coach's flag. And so we, at the end of practice, our athletic director was like, hey, you guys need to come see me. You guys got to take your stuff out. We're like, what? Like, no, yeah, you guys get stuff to take out for your gear. And I was like, what? So we sat there in his office for an hour and a half going through the Under Armour catalog. I was like, can we buy this? And he's like, yeah, that's why you have it. Like, that's why we're doing this, so you guys can have stuff, and we'll get the Under Armour or the school logo on the thing. And it was like, oh, that seems like a lot. I'm like, no, you can buy, you have a budget, just don't go crazy with it. Like, you can get whatever you want. So it felt like weird of like hitting a spending limit and like going out shopping. I don't want to spend too much. Like, no, you can do this. It's fine. And yeah, that's another, you're always learning something in coaching or just, in teaching in general. And that was one thing that I've never like would have imagined. I was like, hey, come take out your gear. What? At the other schools I had, we never had enough money for gear. They're like, oh, all right, well, come take out your gear. Okay. So I'm being treated. So it's kind of nice. Getting a little spoiled. One of the other coaches, they're like, oh man, all your hard work is getting boiled down to this. Yes, I get to do shopping.
Hey, that's pretty good. At my school, they just give us really ugly T-shirts every year. They're like, here you go. You can wear this with your jeans on Wednesday. Ugliest shirt in the world. Like, that's what it gets.
Oh, and I get to wear shorts while I teach. So, boom.
What?
I'm happy.
What?
I'm never leaving. Yep.
Our new, we used to be able to wear like jeans anytime we wanted to, as long as we had like a nice shirt and whatever. But our new superintendent's like, that's not very professional. This is a professional business workplace. You cannot do that anymore. Like, loser. What?
Yeah, I get to wear shorts. I mean, they still have to look professional. I can't be like all ratted and whatnot. But yeah, they're like, well, since you have so many athletic periods and you have to move around a lot, like, yeah, that's fine. We want you to be comfortable, and we want you to do what you can, and that way you're not stressed. Like
wow, getting the gym teacher treatment. Like everyone's getting yelled at to dress professionally. Like, you can just keep wearing your sweatpants, so don't worry about it.
Because I'm like, I'm not changing, and they're like, oh no, that's fine. Well, we prefer that. Like, I still have to wear like either like a pullover or like polo or something, but I'm like, I get to wear shorts. So yeah, I'm kind of stoked. So yeah,
right.
That was the first question I asked my principal, and he's like, "Yeah, you wear shorts." I was like, "Really?" Like, Coach, why are you crying? He's like,
Sorry, I keep my classroom too cold for wearing shorts anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, freeze them out.
Listen, you gotta keep the temp down in that 6th grade classroom, buddy. It, yeah.
That's what I got. So we got game this week, all that stuff. Still myself been going to work out. More like we've been going to this one thing. We got a place at a local gym here, and all the first the athlete when I was in high school was like, well, we could totally do this, and I'm like, I'm 31. I can't do this like it used to. I'm extremely in pain. I'm in a lot of pain right now. I'm having fun. That's been our week.
Nice. Very busy indeed.
Well, I
excuse me.
I wonder, should have confirmed this before we got on the call about remembering what our challenge was that we were supposed to do for this week.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Aaron, did you remember what our challenge was for this week?
Nope.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. We can delay till next week, or we can ride with it, see how it goes. What do we want to do?
I can do some researching while you do this. So
okay. Did you remember what it was just now?
Nope.
Okay. So, Aaron, our task was to just say what our favorite movie that has sharks in it was.
That's not Jaws.
That's not Jaws.
Very important here.
Because, as that's an important stipulation, because when you're talking about shark movies, like usually any list you see that's like at the very top, if not the top, it's in the top like 5, you know? So I figure in order to make sure that we just all didn't go, it's Jaws. We should say, I have a Jaws.
I already have 3 right now. Right now, I was like, oh, I know this. So
I have a Jaws T-shirt for crying out loud. So, we can just, after we say our one, we could talk about any other shark movies that are good, right?
Sure.
we could keep going, right? It doesn't have to be just one. Like, it's just favorite shark movies, right?
Sure.
That are good. But I should at least say, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but for me personally, it is Jaws, right? Because it's like really good and it's like really suspenseful, and it kind of defined the genre, It did. It's a very genre defining movie,
Cut the knees out of everything else we're going to say now.
Hey,
that should have been saved at the end.
No, I'm saying now, I'm saying this is for Jaws 1 only. Okay. Like Jaws the Revenge? No.
Oh, no, they fall out. It's downhill. I think, and by the time you get to what, no, it's just Jaws 3 is down there. Everything after the first one is just terrible. So.
Yeah, so when we do our list of best movie series at a later date in time, a movie franchise that will not be on that list is Jaws, right? Because the first one is good. It's like amazing. And the second one is like a pretty good movie. Yeah. And the third one is like, what on earth is this? What's happening?
Yeah. Why am I watching?
And then Dennis Quaid shows up. You're like, what the heck is going on? Why is
things have gone off the rails? This is very bad. This is very bad. So
yeah,
I have a secret bet. I'm gonna write down my answer right now for what Aaron's is.
Ooh, okay, I like it. Prediction.
I have no idea what
prediction. Pain.
I have maybe. Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna make another prediction here. I'm gonna write down what I think. Brandon.
Does documentaries count, or does it just have to be like pure movies?
Whatever.
I was thinking about like cinema movies.
Okay.
Yes.
But we can mention documentaries after.
That'll be the bonus round.
Okay.
Yeah, bonus round.
For sure. So, but yeah, that's what I'll say. I have a bet for Aaron. I have no idea what brand. That's long with. No idea. Not to put you in a corner, and but I think I got it. But anyway, who wants to lead us off?
You can.
I'll go.
Yes,
I'll go. Okay. So, well, I think before we do this, we have to define for personally like what a shark movie is. I don't think it. First off, I don't think it is necessary or important that the shark be at the center of like villainhood or or like the main like antagonist in the movie. I don't think that is necessary. I think unfortunately when you type in shark movies, all the ones that come up are they put the shark as like the
well, that's true, right? I think that the majority of them do fall into the category of like the what's it called in the literature when you do the man versus nature.
Yeah.
Right. That man versus nature conflict, right? Where it's like a man or person, whatever, against nature or some kind of animal, right? Where they're pitted against each other. Not necessarily in like it's not like a hero villain type of thing. It's usually some kind of like survival, like one of them is going to be the only one alive at the end. Right? That's normally the way that this happens.
Yes.
So it's like very man versus nature, very like one-on-one, right? Only one will survive, right? It's like battle royale, right? There's like so that's the normal way that you think about this kind of conflict, right? It's very man versus nature. One is trying to just end the other one, through whatever.
Yeah. And so I think that's where most of these get pigeonholed. And if you scroll down through the long list, that's pretty much all you will see. Either telling the stories or whatever. And mine's no different. Except
okay, I figured you always pull out some weird thing. You'd be like, my favorite movie is Shark Tale. Like, what? No.
Oh man, can we back up a second? No, there were no movies with sharks that were done by the Muppets or by like 90s Darkwing Duck or anything like that. So
Darkwing Duck, bro.
Darkwing Duck. I played straight this time because I actually do have one that I like, and I like it because it is probably it terrifies me because it's one of the movies, and I don't know what kind of genre of movies this is, but they take like one event of like pretty normal everyday event and then they track it to like its ultimate like worst case scenario possible conclusion and outcome, right?
Oh no, this is Collin's worst nightmare. This is like what he thinks about. Like
yes. So I am picking because it is fascinating to watch. It has some rough spots around it. I actually really do like the movie Open Water from 2003.
Oh, there we go.
This is a survival horror. What, Aaron?
It's on my list.
Okay, so this is a survival horror film. And it sets the precedent here of, first off, this was made for like $120,000 and somebody bought it for $2.5 million. So it was like great return on investment here.
Yeah.
But they the premise here is a couple goes on dive excursion, go do their dive, and they come up, boat gone. They are adrift at sea, and now they survive. And I like this because while yes, the sharks play a role in being terrifying and menacing, There's also the survival at sea now, right? There's exhaustion, there's hunger, there's dehydration, there's delusion stuff, there's all sorts of other things going on. And it's also a relational thing of like there's very much like, oh yes, husband and wife bickering about what the other did and why the other one is at fault for this kind of thing, and like having to overcome that. And ultimately, like, and I, not spoilers here, blow the spoiler horn, right? Like they succumb to this event, and how it's both a mixture of like, yes, sharks, but they're not like, it's not just all about sharks. Like it's very it's survival horror, so it's very human centric about people surviving against the elements, which also does include sharks who are trying to eat them and then eventually do and bleeding out. It's just I like how it's framed and putting people in that situation again of like diving and then like, what's the worst case scenario that could happen from this? Like stranded and sharks around and you must survive, and they don't. And that's another thing about this of like, that's what makes it so terrifying. Of it's not the like, oh, and at the last minute they get saved or whatever. It's like, no, that's not what happens here. So it is one of my I'm gonna say favorite shark film because of the realism of it, and just how terrifying of a scenario it is, where it's kind of one of those like, I can't, like, it's painful to watch because of just like, this is one of the things that's on my like horrified by list.
Yeah.
in the world. But how it's just like every little thing, because even like like jellyfish play a role in this, of them being stung, and like it's agonizing to them as they go through this, and then like it's then like there's the storm, and it's the sharks do play a role, but there's so much else going on that lead to them succumbing to that because ultimately you could say, well, the biggest villain of this is like just time and the ocean, right? It's not just the sharks, it's a bigger picture and slice than that, but they do play that role of being omnipresent. And you could imagine this set in a different scenario where you're in the Rocky Mountains and the wolves are circling and growing closer and closer as your fire gets dimmer and dimmer, and are they going to survive the night or not? And that kind of battle that goes back and forth. So it's a horrifying thing to watch and think about and contemplate, especially for somebody who loves scuba diving. I think it's good. I again, it's one of those of like, I can't look away, and it's also not like, again, the other thing that shark movies tend to do is like they go either like ultra realism to documentary level. They span all the way to the totally absurd, and I'm sure we'll talk about them along that spectrum.
Oh, we will.
this kind of falls like, it's not a documentary, and sure, some of the things you're like, I don't know if that would, but like it kind of sits right in the middle there for me, at least, in how I view these. Not necessarily as a shark biologist or anything like that, but just like, okay, like this is believable for what's happening right now when you're in it. So for that reason, I really like this, and I'll stop talking. So I don't know. Have you guys seen that one?
I think I did, like when it came out, like a long time ago.
Sure.
That's an early 2000s movie, right?
2003. I'm surprised. Yes. Yeah.
Aaron, have you seen that one?
Yeah, I think it was kind of, I never saw it in theaters. It was kind of one of those things on like USA or something like that, and it was like, oh, what's this? And then like it's like the slow fear creeping into me is like, you're in the middle of the ocean, can't see the bottom, and you something's there, but you can't see it. Like, freak me out. So that was actually on my list. I will scratch that off.
Nice choice. I'm surprised you played it straight. You always pick like the weirdest movie of all time. Like, so I'm proud of you.
Yeah, look at me. Next time.
Get you. Well, that's all right. I'll go next. Collin, what'd you write down for my pick?
Oh, I didn't have a Finding Nemo and the sharks that are in there. No, I didn't guess. I don't have a guess for you because I don't know where you're coming from. So
okay, so I am a person that likes the man versus nature movie, right? I like a lot of these are classed as like thriller horror, you know,
Yeah.
and this is probably the only type of horror that I like because it's like it goes in so many different directions, you know. It's like a survival. How are you struggling to survive in the face of like near insurmountable odds? But it's a natural threat, right? So it's a little more interesting. So my pick is 2016's The Shallows.
Okay.
Yeah. Starring Blake Lively and a shark. That's basically it in this movie, right?
Okay.
So this movie's kind of cool because it's kind of like Collin was saying, like it's pretty much just like this. Most of the events of this movie could like actually happen to you, right? It's pretty straightforward. The end is a little bit like whatever, but like for the most part, the shark in this movie is just doing like shark things, right? It's not necessarily like evil monster that's like just gonna like eat everybody like Jaws is, you know, because Jaws is like, even though I do love that movie a lot, it's pretty over the top and like the shark is the bad guy, right? In this movie, the majority of it is just like it's a shark doing shark stuff, you know. Basically the plot is lady is out surfing alone by herself on a secluded beach. So step number 1, don't do that. Number 2, she's like out there surfing and like basically it kind of transpires that it's kind of low tide, tide's going out, surfing's wrapping up, but there's a whale carcass that's like right there, right, just off the shore. And we all know where there's whale carcasses, there's sharks. Kablam. So this shark has like come up to the whale carcass, and as I guess it's probably eating the whale carcass, it also decides, hey, I should eat this surfer person, right? So it attacks the surfer person, right? So it attacks Blake Lively. Oh no, I think her name is Nancy in this movie, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So she's like stranded on this rock, right? She gets out of the water from this attack. The shark like attacks her on her surfboard. She gets out of the water. She's on this like rock that's kind of out in the ocean at low tide, right? And the shark is kind of swimming around between her and the whale carcass and eating, right? So it's just kind of in the area the whole time, but it's all riled up because it's eating whale carcass, and she's just stuck on the rock. And it's like the main conflict of the movie is basically like, okay, I'm injured. I'm on this rock. Shore is 200 yards away, but there's a big giant shark in the water that's hungry.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, and I kept saying that it's like low tide. Oh. So throughout the course of the movie, the tide comes back in, and she's slowly running out of rock. Right. So they handled that part kind of interestingly. It's kind of an interesting little twist they put on it there to like make it the time sensitive. Right.
Yeah.
So like, I got to figure out a plan.
I think you have left out my vague memory of this is that there's a very important character that I think you've left out up to this point.
Which is?
The Steven Seagal.
Oh, yeah. That's what she calls.
My favorite.
Yeah. She makes friends with the seagull.
I mean, come on.
He does play an important role because she has her surf GoPro with her. So she's like, well, I'm going to die. So like, she like video records a message to herself or to her sister. Right. And then she like attaches it to Steven Seagal, and he like goes way towards the shore at the end. So other than the seagull,
okay,
that's basically the only characters.
Okay,
there is another like random, like there's the dude that brings her to the beach, right? Whatever, her sister. But the majority of the movie is Blake Lively on a rock with a seagull. Okay. Yeah, so it's pretty good, right? It's pretty believable for the most part. The end is a little bit like, okay, whatever, but like it's a little overplayed for dramatic effect, right? But like. The final confrontation between her and Shark is a little bit like that's. But when you're watching it for the first time, you still are like, right? So it's all good. So I really like that movie. I remember we watched that in the theater when it came out. It was a really good movie theater, right? It's really, really plays good on the big screen.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good, right? It's nice, simple, straightforward, stripped down story. It's pretty good. Right? I like that one a lot. So my pick is The Shallows.
2016.
2016.
Okay. Like it.
Aaron, what is a movie that you like that has sharks in it?
All right. I'm trying to figure out which I want to start with first. I don't want Collin to win his little thing. So I'm going to go a different direction. This movie, it's not very good. I just want to make that very clear. But the one thing about watching it when I was younger.
Remember, these are movies that you like.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be good.
No, I do like it.
No, I hate this movie.
It's not like, oh man, the cinematography is fantastic. It's just, it's weird because when we were younger, going to water parks kind of terrified me because it was always just like, let me finish. Like, I can't see the bottom. Maybe I was too little, but like what if there's a shark in it? And when I've watched this movie, although yes, it'd be older, it freaked me out and it made like all of my fears as a small child come true. I'm talking about Jaws 3.
You're right, it's not good.
And what's her face running around in a water park where there's a shark on the loose, just terrified me. And so I would sit and watch this movie. I'm like, oh man, this is a water park, and what about the other animals? And what about the people in the little rowboat? And so having my fears on screen, it's fear. And then I got older, and I was like, wow, and it's coming through the dining room, the dining room scene where they're all sitting there eating dinner or something, and there's the fish tank. You just see this really poorly animated shark coming through, and it crashes through the glass, and everyone freaks out because it starts flooding. You're like, oh, the shark! To me, that was kind of the real fear of sharks. Is it's a body of water. It could be anywhere. And plus, I like Dennis Quaid, and so the night scene where they're trying to go through and I think they're supposed to fix the little fence thing. Maybe the shark came through here. That was also another thing that terrified me because it dove at night with a shark. So poor animation was not anywhere close budget-wise or popularity-wise as its older, its first movie. But I liked it because it was one of those movies that's low budget. Oh man, this could be a real thing. So that's Jaws 3 for me.
All right, there we go.
Shocker! I did not write down.
I will wait to read off my entire list, and you will thank me later. So.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. That's. Well, here. Well, I didn't prepare a second one. So I just had one.
That's all right. I have to say, if I did not say this, I'm going to get beat up by my wife later. Not really, just joking. But Susan's favorite shark movie. I have a bonus. I have the Susan favorite shark movie of all time.
Is it 2017's Trailer Park Shark?
No.
Oh, okay, fine.
That sounds hilarious, though.
Yep.
Gotta love those Sci-Fi Channel original shark movies.
Yes,
we have talked about those before on here. Ozark Shark, right? Yep. Sharktopus.
Yep, all those good ones.
Right. More on those in a minute.
Sorry. Anyway,
I feel like we should close with those because that goes into the utter absurdity. But Susan's favorite shark movie
bonus pick
is, of course, the 1999 sci-fi great Deep Blue Sea.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She loves it. She loves this movie very much. It's her favorite. Anytime it's on TV, she's like, "We're watching it right now. Stop it."
Stop.
There's a few movies.
I've gone out of my way just to find it on Netflix and watched it twice in one weekend. So,
yeah, there's a couple movies with her that like she's a big fan of this like disaster kind of movie thing, right? So like if there's certain movies, if they're on TV, we're watching them.
Yeah,
and that's it. It doesn't really matter. That's all we're doing, right? That's where we draw the line. But she loves Deep Blue Sea a lot. So if you don't know, Deep Blue Sea is basically the premise, listeners, is there's this like underwater research facility for some reason.
Oh yeah.
And they're doing tests to fight Alzheimer's disease on like genetically engineered sharks.
Mm-hmm.
And the sharks like become super intelligent or something, and they start like destroying the facility and escaping and eating everybody, and they'll have to escape. And LL Cool J is there with a parrot, right? So Samuel Jackson's there too. So
these, my bird.
Yeah, that's okay. The end credits have an LL Cool J rap song. That's important news. But the movie's like, if you like those movies, like it's not on the serious end of the spectrum, right? It is not an open water. It's kind of more towards the other end where it's just like, it is still about survival. It is about escape, right, from this situation. But the sharks in this movie are much more like monstrous in that their goal is to eat you only.
And, cunning and the villain with like a plot and a
yes,
like destroying people.
So it's kind of like Jurassic Shark, right? It's like that. Like their goal is to eat you. So that's what they're. Although, hey, man, Jurassic Shark. There's a movie idea right there.
I'm sorry. It is already taken. It is.
I mean, probably, but my version's better.
Jurassic Shark.
Yes. Someone hadn't made that, I'd be upset. But
you said that, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's her favorite movie. She loves that one a lot. She likes the action-y bits, right? It's very like, it's kind of that good. It's like classic, like Hollywood, like over the top, like set pieces. It is a lot of practical effects because this is 1999, so like it is all the actors like swimming around in this like crazy water and all. So like on that level, this movie is super impressive, right?
Yeah.
The set design in this movie and like the effects, like the real effects are pretty great, right? And I think that really adds a lot to the feeling of like, and like the emotions you get in the movie, like, oh crap, that's crazy. That person is about to get eaten, because it is all practically done. So I think that really adds in. It makes that aspect of the movie actually really good, right? Because the set is really big, and it's like this big, weird, really elaborate underwater research facility. You know, I mean, there's sharks. Like, I guess the movie should be underwater. I guess I don't know, but like, it's all really cool. So all the set design, all the practical effects, all the water areas, they're all like parts of the stuff start collapsing and they're closing off the tunnels. So they're like swimming through all this stuff. It's actually really cool. That part's really impressive. So there we go. That is another movie I want to mention is the bonus Susan favorite, Deep Blue Sea.
Okay.
Yes.
Love it.
Boom.
Well, Aaron, did you have other lists on your list that you wanted to get to before we go into the absurd side of things, or the rest of your list
mine's pretty absurd.
Just read some names of others that you like personally.
That you like.
Yeah. So Deep Blue Sea, obviously. I've only watched it once, but it's a USS Indianapolis, about the ship in World War II that sank and those guys had to float. Yeah. So.
That's a true story, though. That's crazy.
That is that's the one I wrote down when I for you, Aaron, because I was like, that's like screams, Aaron. It's history, and we're talking about sharks. It's naval, So that's the one.
So
that actually is
that movie.
Story.
Nice. That movie. is I've only seen it twice. I don't think I liked it the first time, but as I kind of like understood, like went back and like read it, and, understood like, oh, this actually like was Anne thing. The USS Annapolis, Jaws 3. My personal favorite, just because you guys said no Jaws at first, I put Spy Who Loved Me, 1977, with the movie villain Jaws, because that was one of my all-time favorite characters in the James Bond series, plus playing him on the 007 game on Nintendo.
There we go.
Finding Nemo, Bruce, the Great White Shark, was one of my all-time favorites, because it was like, oh man, here's this super cool like twist on sharks, and like fish are friends, not food. And then like, so blood in the water. Then what happened? Boom, rampage. Street Sharks, obviously.
Oh, Street Sharks. There we go.
One movie that I know I've watched once, because I thought it was gonna be like one of those kind of like weird cheesy movies. It's called Soul Surfer. It's about the girl that
lost her arm.
Lost her arm, and she was scared to go back out surfing. Then she went back out. And then Shark Boy and Lava Girl, because of reasons. I think that's it. That's all the stuff I had on my list. So
there we go.
Yeah, that did fall off the absurd list pretty fast. And I think that's important. Why do you think absurdity just like follows shark movies? Why is it chum in the water to add shark to just anything and make it just insane?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that tends to happen with a lot of animal movies, like the Man versus Nature, that end up being like animal based. But you're right. There is something about sharks that like it veers real hard into like crazy town.
I think a lot of it comes from people's, fear of kind of like the ocean, because there's a lot of people that are like, and I think a shark is just one of those easy animals where you don't really have to like mythologize it, because it's been around for so long that it's just like for thousands of years people have been scared of sharks, the cave drawings, all that stuff. So you don't really have to do a whole lot to it. And plus it's pretty easy. It's like, ocean, boom, shark.
I mean, that's true. It is just a giant torpedo with massive teeth, right? So it's not like.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's what I was saying. I think you're onto something, because like, it's not like you don't have to do a lot of work to make people afraid of a shark, right? Mm-hmm. A large number of people already are, irrationally or not. That has nothing to do with it. They are, right, and they are just like giant. I mean, if you look at a shark, you're just like, that is kind of scary looking, right? It's like a big, especially like most of these are great whites, obviously, right? Because that's the big boy. But like, there's other ones show up in the movies too. But like these big sharks, they're humongous, right? Like nothing really prepares you for seeing something that's like 17 feet long and full of massive teeth is just going to eat you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not really a big step for somebody to be afraid of that.
Which doesn't make sense. It's already terrifying. Why do you have to make it into a tornado? Like,
that's true. I feel like the reason is like it is a good starting place, the shark movie, but then you end up with a large number of movies that are the same, and so then you sort of diverge into the Sci-Fi Channel original movie of like Ozark Shark, right? You get these bizarre things, and let's be real, you don't have to have a lot of special effects for a shark movie, because a lot of the time you don't see it.
Yeah.
Right? Jaws proved this to us. Like a lot of the movie is like the dread of it being there but not seeing it. You know what I mean? So like then all of a sudden, like you don't have to have a super big budget to get a shark, because like the majority of the time you don't even have to look at it, right? You see, it's there. You see some like blah, but like, and then that's it. So that could be another reason.
I think another reason like this was a movie that came out was the last year before called The Meg with Jason Statham.
Yeah,
that's because it talks about the megalodon, and it's like, oh man, this thing's extinct. Like, oh, is it? And I think people's fascination with sharks, but besides the fear, the fascination, because Shark Week, although it has dipped in the past few years, Shark Week is still moderately popular.
This year was really good, actually. Yeah, the shows on it this year were super good.
With Michael Phelps racing a great white shark, like, come on.
There was none of that this year. Well, there was there was one exception, but other than that, it was really good.
But like it's still pretty popular, and people are still fascinated because we don't really understand that much about the ocean. We only know like what small percentile or percentage of it.
Yeah.
And people are always like, oh man, like, is this really a thing? And so like seeing that on screen, I think is kind of huge for people because it plays to that fascination. And then there's like that fear of like the next time you go out to the ocean, what will you see? And you're like, whoa. That's just how I feel because I'm crazy and I picked Jaws 3 as my number one movie. So I don't really get to much say, but I think a lot of that stuff plays into a lot of that, when I was younger, I watched Jaws, which was based off of the true events of, what was that, New Jersey, New York?
Yeah, was it 16 or something like that? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then like, just like, it's always going to be in the back of your head. Like, well, did this happen to me? Is this going to be a thing here? So I think it just plays on generations of like, that movie Jaws was like scary and like, oh, it's silly sharks. And you're like, wait, scary?
Yeah. I have a memory, right? I remember Mom talking about this once a long time ago. She said that they lived on the lake, right? And so she saw Jaws in the movie theaters with Barb, obviously. Probably Cindy too, let's be real. And she said all after that, forever, like she'd be out on the lake, she'd be on her floaty with her legs dangled in the water, and then all of a sudden she'd just pull her feet up.
Right.
Like, right, and it's like that's 100% irrational because it's a lake in the middle of Illinois. So like that's silly. But Aaron's onto something right there. There's this phobia / fascination with the shark, right? Because it is a big, giant, scary thing, but it's also super stinking awesome, right? They're so cool, right? So I think that balance is just what makes people like those movies. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is the realism. It is a very, very, very primal fear where you get an immediate reaction to it that you can't not react to in certain situations, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because it is so basal that then I think what's important is how does the movie play on that? Does it throw them in a tornado or does it keep them in a believable? Because again, it is scary enough to be in deep water and not know what's underneath you. And then to have a thought of a shark, it doesn't matter. Like I'm sure even some experienced divers still go,
yeah,
like it's still just a quick, and then you have to calm down. Like it's just to get into that mindset. But I that's what that kind of separates those good movies from the more outlandish ones is what it does with that fear and how it interacts with.
Yeah, and I think there's a even if you are an experienced diver, right? There's this thing that's like you're like, oh yeah, I've dived with sharks a whole bunch. I've done this all the time, but it only takes one time. You know what I mean?
Oh, and I've seen videos
for it to go wrong. You know what I mean? There was a show on Shark Week this week. It was actually this year. I mean, it was actually really good. It was about this guy whose name I can't remember now. And this is going to make it bad, but he was that guy, right? He's dived with sharks a whole bunch and whatever. And then he was out this one time and he was in this like clear plexiglass thing, like observing shark behavior or whatever. And the shark just nailed him. right? It just came right up. It just blasted right through the plexiglass. And it didn't really hurt him, but it like emotionally it was not good. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because his confidence like gone.
Oh, I've seen the videos like of the underwater GoPro of they're filming some guy and then the shark comes up behind him and he just catches a glimpse of it out of the corner of his eye, and you see this like the whole body just freaks out and tries to pull away. It's instinctual. Yeah, because like your experience is like whatever, but like there's still that thing in your brain that's going run, right? Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, there's that video. I think I put it in the family X like a long time ago. But it's like there's a camera guy, there's a guy that's coming in front of him, and like he's on like the bottom, but like you can't see like 5 feet behind him. And all of a sudden, a great white just comes up and like nudges his head and swims away, and like it comes out of nowhere. Yeah. And the fact like, oh man, like I've not been doing this for so long, and then just like, how could you miss that? Like, where did it come from? Yeah. And just the raw. I think another big thing that scares people is just like how, number one, how big they are, and how like how strong they are, and like this thing can eat me in one bite. Yeah. And that terrifies me. So and we don't understand a lot of stuff about their behavior. Like we don't know why they do the things they do. You know? Like a lot of that's one thing that Shark Week touched on this year a lot was like sometimes it is like when a shark quote unquote attacks a person, it's like misidentification, right? Yeah. They thought you might be edible and it turns out you're not. Oh, you know? Yeah. And other times when a shark quote unquote attacks a person, it's a shark saying, "Get the heck away from me. I don't know what you are and I don't want you here." You know what I mean? And the only way that it can do that is with its mouth. And so like, you know, when a dog does that kind of to you, like the dog will do a corrective nip against you. But whenever that is it's the size of a bus, it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's gonna it's gonna hurt a lot more, you know, because it's some of that behavior where it's like sometimes they like nudge the surfboard, and then they come back and just bite it. Like the nudge was hey, you need to leave, and then when you didn't leave, it's the next step is because like when they do that to other sharks, that's what they're telling them. This is my turf. Get out of here. Mm-hmm. But it's a much more aggressive bite, right? It's like a bam. Like I'm not messing around here. But it's like the dog when it like bites at you. Like, nope, this is my spot. Don't be coming over here. Or when it like bites at another dog, you know, like a rrr. But when, like you said, when it's a bus size, like a mini bus, this is not going to end well for anybody on the receiving end of that. Like, exactly. Yeah. And then you like, end up what would be a pretty like, because to another shark, that's pretty messed up bite and it's going to hurt. But like to anything else, dead. Yeah. Right? Like right through. Yeah. You know, it's treating you like another shark, and another shark can kind of handle it, right? It might not, it'll be a big scar on it, but it's not going to die for the most part. It can, but like if it's real serious. But if it does it to you, it's over for you, man. Like, sorry. Like, that's so I think that's part of the thing that makes people afraid. They don't understand what the shark is doing. And it's not just people, it's like nobody knows. You know what I mean? It's like a mystery. Yeah. Like sharks are very mysterious because they, like Aaron said, they're in the ocean. The ocean is this kind of like mysterious, great unknown area. You know? Because not only is it vast, we forget it's deep, right? Like there's a lot of area for things to be happening that we don't know about what's going on. So it's this very like mysterious thing where mysteriousness is afraid, right? So I think that really it's just like the perfect animal to trigger that response in people and to put it in a movie. You know what I mean? So like. Whereas other animals like lions do it too, you know, like if you've seen Ghost in the Darkness, right? Movies
crocodiles,
like,
other
terrifying,
other things,
yeah, crocodiles, other things that will eat you. Yeah, a shark has an extra mystery factor about it. Yeah, the environment stuff too. Yeah, the environment that it lives in. And that is true. Is like the environment that it lives in is not welcoming for us, just in general, right? Like we're not supposed to be there. Like we don't thrive in the environment. We can be in it, but like we can't like thrive there.
Yeah.
And it's like the fish, right? Like
yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point too. Is that most of those movies also have the added element of the environment, like the lions. Those are typically in movies like not terrifying until like nighttime, or like in when you are stranded or lost, or with crocodiles, it's back bayous with murky water at nighttime, with other circumstances going around. Because it's putting people into a totally unfamiliar on their turf scenario where that fear really does ramp up.
Yeah, and the water is just like a big place for humans because, you know, it's not the natural environment of the human. You know what I mean? Like, it's a thing we need. It's important to us. We don't live there very well.
Importantly. Yeah.
You know, so like, not our natural habitat, as it were. So, I think it's a big point.
Yeah. I agree. So, okay. So we got Open Water, The Shallows, Jaws 3, and bonus
many others
from the Susan coming in here with Deep Blue Sea.
It's true.
To round it out.
And we gotta touch on it because Colin's been dancing around the subject of the cheesy shark movie.
Oh man.
We got to mention it. We have to.
We have to at least say it. I'm not going to link to it because nobody wants to do that. Back in 2013, some campy came out, and I don't know what was in the water almost 10 years ago at this point, but the world was ready for tornadoes and sharks to just explode onto the scene. I think it was just the complete and total absurdity of it. I also think
it is.
It was also kind of like how easy the memification of it like really helped it spread because everybody used terms from that because it was so cheesy and campy. Of like the Weather Channel was using it, all sorts of institutions and people were able to play off that to make it a thing, and it really did just cement itself in the minds of people of like bad movies that kind of bring everybody together. So it did have a cultural impact for that, kind of like other trash movies and TV shows and things like that. But I really think it was just the total and utter absurdity of the entire thing that made people go, huh, what?
Well, I think the other thing about it is like it knew it was absurd.
Yeah.
Right. It was very self-aware. So Sharknado is it's not like some of these movies that are bad, they take themselves seriously and it makes the movie like kind of not fun to watch because like, you know, it's bad and you're kind of watching it and it like so bad it's good, but like the movie thinks it's serious. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At 0 point did Sharknado ever take itself seriously.
It was very self-deprecating,
right?
The entire of the
especially in there's 6 of these movies, so there's like in the 5 sequels. It got more and more and more like silly, right? And it really played into the silliness with all the cameos. Like people would just be in the movie to get eaten by a shark, right?
Oh yeah,
it became like there's there's Ozzy Osbourne got eaten by a shark, right? You were just in cameo because it was silly, right? And like people that you hadn't thought about in years, like all of a sudden here's Bret Michaels. Like, what are you doing here, Bret Michaels? What?
Yeah.
Why?
They could take part of that meme for a little bit and be part of that cultural moment. Yeah. In their show.
And I think but the thing that makes it hilarious is like, you know when you're watching a movie and you go like, oh man, it'd be hilarious if this happened. Like Sharknado was just that.
The entire time.
Right? Like that's the entirety of it. You're like, dude, wouldn't it be funny if they did this? And then like they just do that thing that you made up in your head that would be like super silly, right? They just do that. That's the whole movie.
The whole premise. Yeah.
And they really like played into it. They played into the pop cultural aspect with the next ones, like, you know, the names of the movies and like all that stuff. Like it's just silly, right?
Well, and I think that too, because they were so cheaply produced, rushed through, it could kind of feed on itself for a while. Of like,
yeah, because they came. There was like they were like one a year.
Yeah. Where it's just like they were able to very much in real time, almost like a TV show, play into what was going on and keep that going of like the more absurd, feeding off that. And you never quite got to a point where you, I think, for a while at least, people weren't able to wake up from the binge that they were on of the movies and go, okay, this isn't actually good, and admit that.
Yeah, but
it's feeding into it.
It's one of those things where it's not good, but it is kind of fun to watch, right? Like, it's silly, fun movie. If you just want to like sit on the couch on the weekend and eat popcorn, this is the movie.
Oh yeah,
right. Absolutely. This is it. It's silly. You can laugh at all the jokes. You can be like, who's that person that I think I should know? You're like fiercely Googling who the heck was in this movie to be like, this is what happened last time we watched it, right? There would be a person in the movie, like, I feel like I'm supposed to know who that was. And I don't. So like,
sure.
Like, who's that? It was, oh my gosh, that's this person from Baywatch, or that's this, whatever. Like, it's very like, all that stuff is like, it makes it interactive. You're like thinking about it because it is camp, because it is silly, because it is self-aware. Right. You know that Tara Reid being a robot doesn't make any sense, but she is. So like, whatever. I don't know. Like, it's just Gary Busey shows up at one point. I don't remember. Like, whatever. Like, it's just a whole bunch of silliness, but it's like fun to watch silliness. It's definitely so bad it's good. Like the running gag of the Today Show, just like reporting on the weather, right? It's just like Al Roker,
exactly.
Like playing Al Roker, like being like what is happening?
Really made it made it part of just like it's again it made it part of the culture at that point, right? And that is, I think that, like you said, like that is part of what made it so successful, and they were able to feed into that. I think again, but it then other people tried to do that, and they just ended up making, because they didn't have the societal and the culture aspect and the tie-in to what was going on. The other movies, they were just ridiculous, and they weren't fun, as you keep saying. Like they didn't have the wherewithal themselves, make themselves not less serious. People may make parodies, but I think that's different than what they tried to do here.
Yeah, I think you're right, because this isn't the parody of a shark movie, right?
Right.
That would be something really weird, but like, this is just some sort of really bizarre, very self-aware movie meme, right? It's like what it is. Like, it's like it's so strange, but it's so like hilarious. Like, even though I watch it and I go like, I objectively know in my brain like this is bad, it's still like really fun to watch it.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. It's just like a good time ride. Like, it's just silliness, right? It's just silliness on a movie. And so that can be good too. If the movie's silly and the movie knows it's silly, that's important, right? If it knows it and it leans into it, that can make at least an enjoyable experience anyway.
So, go out and watch our list. Don't watch anything else other than what's on our list, and you'll enjoy a shark movie. I'm kidding.
Let us know your favorite movies featuring sharks that we did not mention, listeners.
There you go. Yes.
Let us know what we missed. Let us know if there's ones, because maybe there's better ones that we haven't seen. Dun dun dun. No. So let us know.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to hearing that, and we'll catch up next time.
All right.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
Love you too.
Bye.